Spoiler alert. If you haven't watched the cartoon I'm about to discuss, please go do so before watching this video. You have been warned.
What's up, YouTube? It's Josie Koizumi, and I'm with my best friend, Krissy.
Hi.
We've been best friends for, since I was 4.
So you were 4 and I was 6.
So I'm 30 now, so.
I'll be 33.
So it's been a very long time that we've been best friends, and so basically today, we're not going to talk about married. I'm going to wait till next week to do married, but we're going to talk about how Hey Arnold affected us as kids, and you know how we related because we grew up in a city. We grew up in Brooklyn. It's very similar to Hillwood. So I feel like today we should talk about being in the millennial older generation and discussing how Hey Arnold, growing up and watching it, was like, oh, we can relate. Like, this is totally relatable.
Definitely.
And she watched it along with me, so you know, she's not like some new fan or anything like that.
Nope.
No.
Definitely not new.
No. We've been watching it ever since we were kids, as you know from previous videos. I always say that. So, let's talk about growing up in a city. So we know that in Hillwood, you've got the ice cream trucks and the stoops and you know the PS1, you know, la 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 la, like stuff like that.
Yeah, exactly.
And we went to PS1 86 as kids, which is funny because when you're watching the show, you're like, oh, they have like a PS1, like,
I know.
And it's, you know, when you live like somewhere like Florida and other places, they don't do the PS1 and numbers. So growing up, we did a lot of things that they would do, like we rode our bikes all the time, like that was
like play ball in the street.
Yeah, like
Yeah.
exactly, like just we played wiffle ball or just like regular like baseball.
Yeah.
In the street.
And any empty spaces, any empty lot or space became like the clubhouse. Like everybody would gather there and like discuss what everybody was gonna do in the neighborhood.
Exactly, like, it was like our own little Gerald field.
Yeah, we had like we all had like the block kids, like all the different kids on the block, and they all had like a different role. Everybody was a character.
Yeah, exactly.
Yeah.
So it was so relatable, and I know that a lot of people are like, oh, I watched Hey Arnold and I can't relate or something like that.
Yeah.
And especially like the new age people, because they apparently demographic, they don't relate.
Apparently that's a thing.
Yeah,
so.
They can't relate to the show, which is crazy to me because that was the only show on Nickelodeon that I could relate to personally, because I feel like, you know, everything else is like Angry Beavers and stuff like that. It was just funny. It was like super funny.
Yeah.
But I feel like Hey Arnold it felt like it was real.
Yeah, it was you and your friends and your neighborhood and
Exactly. So that's something that I was talking about in my last week's cartoon convo about how they're not going to do a season 6 on Nickelodeon because they think, oh, it's not, you know,
relatable nowadays. Which I kind of understand it only because like, and I see it too with like my nephews, and I see it with like my neighborhood. Like I'm not in Brooklyn anymore, but I'm in Staten Island. It's like similar kind of concept where you have like a full neighborhood and residential areas like that. You would think that all the kids could come hang out outside or play together, and they don't.
No.
And it's weird, and I'm like, why are the kids not playing outside? Like, it's a fucking nice day. Ooh, are you allowed to curse?
That's okay, yeah.
Okay. I don't know if you do curse.
No, we can curse.
Okay.
Yeah.
But like, I just feel like there's no kids riding their bikes anymore. There's no kids playing ball in the street or like sitting on the stoop and like that just doesn't happen anymore. And it's like, so I get like it's, you know, this generation of kids are like, why aren't they on their phones playing? Why aren't they playing video games? Like,
yeah.
Why aren't they all in Fortnite? Like, why aren't they
Exactly.
talking to somebody in Germany? Like,
Yeah.
like, why are you gonna be like limited to? I don't like the kid across the street, so I'm gonna go talk to some kid in like, you know, another country.
Yeah.
Instead, it's like they miss out on something, and it's really sad.
You know, we grew up in a block that everyone was like friends and we all knew each other, but we did have like enemies.
Yeah, you know what? But that was the great thing about it. It's like, all right, yeah, this is the difference between like then and now. Even if people you don't like them, you tolerated each other and you knew each other's differences, and you still all kind of like hung out and were part of the crowd together, even though you're all different. Nowadays, it's like, well, I don't like people like that, so I'm gonna go find people like me and only be around those people, and that just like I feel like that breeds hatred.
Yeah.
Because now you don't understand the other person. You know, like, okay, if you look at back where we were, we had the girls across the street, and they were like the rich, popular type.
They were the Rhonda Lloyds of like the.
Yes.
That's what they were. They were the Rhondas.
They were, but you know what? There were times where they came knocking on our door, came and like watched while we were like doing seances in the basement.
Disclaimer: we are not witches. We are
We just
not
thought
witches.
we were when we were kids.
Yeah.
Sometimes because of the craft.
The craft.
That was the new thing.
Yeah, in the 90s.
But like we were the dark, weird rock kids, you know, with grungy, and like they were the Krissy, preppy girls with the side ponytails with the matching clothing and like all chewing their bubble gum too loud. But like the fact is that I would go to their house sometimes and we would play things in their house, like we would play Saved by the Bell or whatever.
No, exactly. But
they would come and play with us
thing.
sometimes. But we knew we didn't like each other. Like they made fun of us for being weirdos, and we made fun of them for being like exactly the same and having no personalities whatsoever.
Exactly, but the difference now is they can go online and bully you. Like that's the big difference. Like back then it was like they just hid in their house and they were like, oh, you know, all those.
Oh, we don't like them.
Yeah.
Let's compete with their lemonade stand on a 100-degree day by having a hot chocolate stand because they were that smart.
Exactly.
That was a blast. But
yeah.
But no, but it's the same. It's the truth. Now, like if that was now, those girls would have just found other girls online that were like them, and they would have just stayed away.
Exactly.
But that's not how it went back then. Back then, it's like, all right, people are different, but you're still kids, and you still live close by, and you still have like a basement to play in, you know. So you played with each other. They don't have that anymore. It's sad, and I feel bad about it.
And that's why they won't do this whole Hey Arnold season 6, which they couldn't, timeline-wise, they couldn't even do anyway with like the cell phones. Like they were trying to, in the Jungle movie, they tried to kind of incorporate it, but it's not really bad. It's not like everybody's got a cell phone. It's just Rhonda, and Rhonda can afford it.
Yeah.
So and that's relatable. Oh, cell phones were around back then, but not all these kids didn't have it. Only like maybe a rich kid had it.
Yeah.
Which is Rhonda. So she was the only one in the movie who had the cell phone, which is I feel like that's exactly right back then.
Sure.
In that time.
I don't know, but it makes you think about even like with other shows. It's like they've brought back so many things from like the past, and they were able to make it work. Like I feel like it would do better to pretend like things are still back then.
Right.
Because it's more of a comfort thing where it's more like, all right, kids are still hanging out. Maybe, do you know what? It probably would be a good idea because it would open this generation up to an idea that they're not
that they
used
don't
to.
Right, that they don't
they'd
need
be like,
cell
oh
phones.
man, let's go play outside and like, hang out with the kids like they do on Hey Arnold. Like that could be a good idea if they really wanted to take it, you know, to a today's standpoint and try to figure out how it would work with kids today. Maybe it would like open up something that we need, like, because I feel like we need it.
We definitely need it, and I think Hey Arnold could, you know, benefit Nickelodeon. But I know Nickelodeon won't do it because they said no, so Netflix is trying to buy it, which is if Netflix, I'm telling you now, if Netflix gets Hey Arnold, it's going to be so good. I remember when I was in middle school, there was a lot of like, there's boy crushes that are really like getting serious, and as you know, in the Jungle movie, spoiler alert, Arnold and Helga get together for real. So now they're together. So now everybody's like excited to see how they go to school together as a couple.
I really feel like that would be a cool like idea. And then you got to think about like what they can possibly do with that, because it's like all of Hey Arnold, you're sitting there watching Helga like pining for him, you know, in secret. And I feel like now that it's like that's kind of concluded, it's hard to imagine like, well, what could they possibly do with Helga? I mean, like now that secret crush thing is kind of over.
It's over.
Yeah, so then it's like, all right, where do you go from there with that?
Well, I think that's a good point. But I also think that Craig Bartlett, the creator, has so many ideas, because Helga is still having trouble. Like you can tell in the end of the movie that he goes to hold her hand. Like the last thing he does, he goes to hold her hand, and she goes like this. So it's kind of like she's still like she's so
standoffish.
right.
Yeah, she's so used to being the person who has to like pretend to hate him all the time.
Exactly. She's got like a complex. So she is so used to being like, no, like football head, blah blah blah, I hate you. And then in the secret shadows being that way, but now that they're both, know how each other feel and they're together.
Yeah.
Now it's a matter of, I want to see in season 6, I want to see how Helga grows. Like I want to see her get better and better at being a girlfriend, because I don't think that, because I think at this point right now, she's not gonna know how.
Yeah,
it's gonna be like a
it's gonna be like a Sheldon Cooper kind of scenario where he has to learn how to be with Amy. Like
yeah,
like that whole thing, like Big Bang Theory. Like when you're watching this person who doesn't know how to interact, like romantically or emotionally with another human being, and it's like now you gotta find that way. And I feel like that would be really funny to see with Helga, because hers isn't just I'm like robotic. She's actually like
passion,
super angry, fired, like up like all the time, just like, oh my god, that would be hilarious.
No,
though.
I know, exactly. I think it would be so good. And how does Arnold, like, how does he
deal with it?
Yeah, like how does he deal? Because
does he have the patience?
Because she's gonna be like super bipolar. Like let's be real, she's gonna be so bipolar to where it's gonna be like, I love you, I hate you, I love you, I hate you. And you saw that in the Jungle movie too. Because even down to the part where they kiss, he was like, love, and she was like, yeah, like I love you like a root canal. Let's talk about how relatable Helga was to to women, to girls, How Helga was relatable to girls. 'Cause I feel like
us specifically.
Yeah, us specifically.
Absolutely.
Growing up, I was a bully. In school, I always got into fights all the time. That was me. But other than that, it was the crushes that were most relatable to Helga than anything else that she could possibly do. And I think that the obsession that she had was something that you watch it and you go, okay, it's a little much. But then you think back on yourself and you go, wait a minute, I was exactly like that, shrine and everything.
Yep. Helga, to me, was the only character on TV that I really, related to. Like, I wanted to say I related to Lydia from Beetlejuice, but she had Beetlejuice, so it wasn't the same thing. But Helga was the most, I watched her and felt better about myself, because I think all through school, no matter where I was, like junior high school and up, I think, mostly, I did have a crush in elementary school, but it wasn't to that extent.
No.
But junior high school, it got bad. But that was when I started with the whole, obsessing and then keeping things that belonged to them and finding pictures of them wherever and then stealing them. And then just, having, their pictures all over the place and being, thinking one day it's gonna happen. Yeah. And it's so funny, in junior high school, there was a boy that my friend was dating, and I was obsessed with him, and I would get pictures of him from her, and she fed my obsession, and it was really funny, but at the same time it was really hard. It's that situation. In high school it was the same thing. I was obsessed with a guy for 6 years, starting from high school even out, and it was I had the shrines to him. I just stole things from him. I found his pictures on the internet when the internet wasn't hardly it was hardly a thing. We hardly had pictures on the internet. There wasn't Facebook or MySpace or anything like that. I found him on the school's sports team photos. I stole those too. And it was so bad because then I stole his mail from his not his mail, that's the felony.
Yeah, that's a felony.
I stole the little newspaper pamphlet things that they leave.
Yeah.
I just stole it, put it in an envelope, and was like, "This is from his house."
Oh my gosh! But that's so.
It's true. And I'd go to his job. I'd go to his work. I would watch. I knew when he closed up. It was so. Exactly. It was so bad. But then it's I would watch Hey Arnold, and I'm like, all right, I'm not the only one.
Yeah.
It's okay, I'm bad, but at least there's a character that exists that I can relate to, and it made me feel so much better. And I loved Helga because she was good at keeping up the facade.
Right.
And I didn't have that, but she did, and I envied it because it was she could be around Arnold and be a friend, kind of a friend if you want to. Just bullied him and shit. but the fact that she was able to be around him and not let him know, like that was cool because it allowed her to get closer.
Yep.
And I'm like, sheesh, y'all. I should have been able
Criminy!
to criminy. I should have been smart like that and pretended to like not like them so that they weren't so like.
Exactly. That's why in the Jungle movie when he in the first movie that was just a stupid fail, but in the Jungle movie when it really becomes a thing and his first thing is, you're always mean to me, so how was I supposed to know? Like, you know what I mean? Like,
yeah.
But then over the years, what he noticed was she was loyal and kind and faithful and was always there. Always there for him all the time. She did little things that, you know, showed humanity in Helga, because a lot of the times you're like, okay, we know she loves him. We know she's obsessed with him, but she does these really horrible things to him because of her passion, you know, so she gets in the way of things. And then when you watch it, you go, shit, I would do the same shit. I would literally do the same shit she did, like when she sabotaged the first, when they go to the cheese festival with
Ruth.
my
God.
Like,
yes.
Like, I would do the same thing.
Something I would have done.
Like this. So in the episode with Lila, the same thing with the cheese festival when she does the same shit, and Lila was like a real threat because Ruth was a bitch, but Lila, Arnold really had a crush on him, but thank goodness Lila didn't like Arnold. She just liked him.
That's called fate.
Yeah, exactly. It's called fate.
It isn't supposed to work out.
Exactly. And it's crazy because when you're watching the show as a kid, you're watching Helga, and all you want is for her to just a little part of you is like, please don't, because it's gonna end. But then a little part of you is like, oh my gosh, already! Like, how is he? You know, he should know by now. All the shit she pulled in the shadows has been her, like down to the Christmas episode with the boots, and like all the stuff that she's done for Arnold. It's no wonder that in the end he was like, I always thought you were mean to me because you loved me. Like, that's what he said. So it made sense to him when he goes, oh shit, like, she does all this nice stuff for me. She literally saved my parents' life in the movie. It was all her with her locket that she finally gave him, which was like, oh shit. Like, how many freaking years of her having 5 seasons of her having this locket that she constantly pulled out, you know, and hid in the shadows.
Oh, Arnold.
Yeah.
But oh my god, I love when and it was so close, the episode with the poem.
Oh my god. With the
like
book, when she drops her book and
oh my god.
My god.
And, it was so close.
Oh, God.
I remember like that whole episode just being like, oh god, come on. It was so close.
It makes me mad, that episode, because when he's reading the last page and it's her name.
Yeah.
And it's like H is for blah blah, and then they get to like L, and then she rips the paper out and chews it and spits it out or whatever. So like it's it's like, how do you know when you turn a page? I would have scanned the name.
I would have scanned it quickly, because it's like, you know.
But of course that couldn't happen, because then it would have been over in the first season or whatever it was.
Yeah.
I think it was the first season that episode was, but anyway, I digress. So that was, you know, Helga was so relatable, and I think that it's okay. And this is the advice. Yeah, like, it's okay to love someone like no in that extent, because you're not hurting anybody. You're not hurting anybody. Like in the episode when Helga on the couch, when she goes to the therapist, and she's like, I can love him like this, and she's like, yeah, but you're not hurting anyone, so it's fine.
Oh, I loved that, because that just like, yay. That made me feel better.
Exactly. It makes you feel better, like, oh my god, am I crazy like Helga? But then you watch Helga, you go, she's not crazy, she's just like super in love with him. And in the end, they are meant to be together via quote.
Yeah, so all that obsessing was for a reason. It was because deep down she knew where she was going. It's called women's intuition. You just know.
It's called destiny.
It's destiny. It's fate.
Exactly. Anyway, so I want you guys to comment below on how you related to Hey Arnold in any way. It could be any character, anything that they did, how you related to Helga, all the girls out there who grew up with Helga, even if you're a new
Helga
fan.
story. Yeah, I want to
Yeah.
hear people's like Helga stories, like all the the obsessions that you have or the crushes that you have where you went a little bit above what would be considered normal.
Exactly.
I want to know.
The stalking
that.
aspect of things, yeah. Like, let me know. I want to read so many stories. That's going to be so fun. Like, I want to see that.
Yeah.
Don't be afraid. Like, your
Yeah.
secret's safe with us. Like, honestly.
Sure.
You don't have to use any
Nobody
names
reads
or
the
nothing.
comment section. Nobody reads that.
Exactly. You can use, like, a John Doe. You don't even have to use someone's name.
Yeah, anonymous.
So, exactly. Let us know in the comments below how you related to that and how you related to Hey Arnold. If you grew up in a city, if you didn't grow up in a city, like, let us know. Like, is it relatable to you, and do you think Nickelodeon is kind of being silly? Like,
yeah, should they bring it back, and do you think it'd be good for this generation?
Exactly. Let us know in the comments below. Next week, I'm going to be doing Married as requested, which is such a good episode, because that really shows the fate aspect when they dream about each other.
Oh my god.
Like, that's like, okay, come on. Like,
Yeah.
how does that happen? And in the end episode, he's like, it's not going to be so bad if I marry Helga.
Yeah.
You know? So anyway, but that's for next week. This was fun.
Yeah. That was fun.
It was fun. So I'll see you guys later.